Happy weekend, everybody. Last minute pickup cast here. Gonna be a Div B West matchup, my home division. sOaK every lane versus 10 armor. Some of these guys I'm pretty familiar with, so happy to grab this one and enjoy what should be a pretty competitive matchup, I think. Afterwards, we're gonna feel really ambitious tonight, and I've actually got 2 replay casts to knock out on the back end of this one. So hang out, we have a couple hours of content here for you. Let's go ahead and start with this one. Game 1 will be on Tomb of the Spider Queen, and this is how we got there. sOaK every lane, banning out Dragonshire, 10 armor, banning out Sky Temple. And early in the season, we're just at the end of week 1 here. sOaK every lane did play one of their flex games this week. They were able to take a 2-1 victory over Arrogant Nephilim. And 10 armor, well, this will be their season debut tonight. They are a returning team with 3 returning players, 2 new ones. Lampico, Yummy Cupcake, Dave are returning, while Midnight Haze and Puffy are the new guys. So very interested to see what these guys come up with. Lampico and Yummy and Dave I actually got to play with in Heroes Lounge this past season, so I know those guys a little bit. On the other side, sOaK every lane. They're going to be a team that B West is really going to have to keep an eye on. And that is partially due to BMed. If you've been around NGS a little while now, you know BMed a little bit of an off-meta, off-lane specialist. Kind of master Gaz player, master Samuro player, plays some Vikings. So they're definitely going to throw some different looks at you. That's something to be aware of going in. So we do have most of these teams in lobby, or most of the players, I should say, in lobby. Just waiting for a couple last-minute ones from 10 armor here, and then we'll get going on game 1. sOaK every lane in the game matchup they played earlier this week versus Arrogant Nephilim. If you haven't got a chance to watch the Tomb of the Spider Queen game in particular, was fabulously entertaining. A really back and forth game with a bit of a crazy ending. So if you like those kinds of games, highly recommend going and watching the set between Arrogant Nephilim and Arrogant Nephilim and sOaK every lane. The Tomb of the Spider Queen game in particular, casted by Weenus. So 9 players. 5th is apparently logging in now. We will get this show going. So a lot of kind of veteran NGS players here. Group overall. Most of the sOaK every lane guys I have some familiarity with and have been playing kind of amateur competitive for a little while now. The 2 new guys on 10 armor I'm not as familiar with, so I'm not sure if they have any prior amateur experience or this season with 10 armor will be their first season in an amateur competitive setup. We'll see how it goes. Tomb of the Spider Queen, though, it is the 3-lane map, one of the smaller 3-lane maps. Really incentivizes being able to clear and rotate quickly. Also, sometimes games on Tomb can run a little long as the objective is not spectacular at opening up win conditions for this team. A lot of times it's going to be that top lane boss that's going to be the condition that wins the game, and that's why teams will usually heavily prioritize the top lane when they get the Webweaver turn-ins, because that's the lane that the boss marches down. That's the lane where you can get a lot of value off of a team fight at the end or pushing with the boss. So enough vamping. We do have all 10 players here. Looks like we have R's from sOaK Every Lane, waiting for the R's from 10 Armor. As soon as we get that, host will click that start game button. Any second now. All right. So there's the second R. This game going right now. Welcome to game 1, Tomb of the Spider Queen. This will be 10 Armor's first pick. They actually won the coin flip and chose first pick, deferring that pick over to sOaK Every Lane. sOaK Every Lane took us here to of the Spider Queen, an oldie but a goodie, one of the very first maps to come into the game. Still fairly well thought of and in the competitive rotation here in the Nexus Gaming series. And there it is. BMed will not get to play Samuro. He played it so well, as Imperius is banned out by sOaK Every Lane. He played Samuro so well last season. I don't think it's going to get through very much, to be honest with you. I think it's just going to be almost an automatic ban if you're playing sOaK Every Lane. BMed doesn't get to play Samuro. And Armor following up with the Diablo ban. He did get a little bit of a nerf. Diablo did earlier this week, a 1-second cooldown increase on his Q and his E. What's going on, Jay? It's alright, you're repping the NGS Twitch account. And then Anubarak, banned out by sOaK Every Lane. Probably the two of them most heavily prioritized tanks in the meta right now is Anubarak and Diablo. Dave, first pick in that Johanna for 10 Armor. I wonder if that's going to signal an Asmo pick, as Johanna and Asmo are so good together. On Tomb as well, you can stack very quickly, so I would not be surprised to see an Asmodan selection here by 10 Armor. On the flip side, Kael'thas and Key's specialty Stukov coming out for sOaK Every Lane. They ran the Stukov very effectively earlier this week. If it's not broken, don't fix it. They go ahead and grab it one more time. For the side of 10 Armor, Steady Eddie, Jim Raynor, Right Click Jimmy coming out, as well as Jaina. I really like those two heroes together in particular. Jaina basically keeps the ace in the hole permaproc for Raynor, and almost gives him a 15% bonus damage to his auto attacks for most of the game. So those two guys go together really, really well, and it's an early game bonus damage that you don't really get from a lot of other heroes combined that way. Tyrande ban, that's targeted at Lampico. He plays a mean Tyrande, and he will not get a chance to play that now. If 10 Armor watched the games earlier this week by sOaK Every Lane, I expect a Zeratul ban here. No, instead it's going to be the Garrosh. So the Zeratul is still up. sOaK Every Lane ran a really good VP Lurking Arm combo this week. They also kind of had an Anubarak in with that. So with that banned out, maybe 10 Armor feeling like that combination not going to be as effective, and they don't need to ban out the Zeratul. Two selections for sOaK Every Lane, really coming down to the wire. There's BMed's Gazlo, and there's the Zeratul that I was talking about. So sOaK Every Lane leaving their tank to the absolute last minute. Leoric coming out for 10 Armor. Their last selection, of course, going to be a support of some kind, unless we go into Crazy Land here. And it is going to be Lampico playing Deckard Cain. Somebody who we might see coming in a little bit more after really coming in top of the meta. He fell off hard for a long time. Now I think he's slowly creeping back in. Soak every lane. Oh, thanks so much, Cat Peach, for the host. I really appreciate that. And welcome to the new viewers. Catching the game 1 of a Division B West matchup between sOaK every lane and 10 Armor. Stitches rounding out the comp for sOaK every lane. So earlier this week, sOaK every lane, they ran the Wombo very well, and they were going to try to do that again now. The VP setting up for the Grabo Bomb combo into the Lurking Arm, plus all of that Kael'thas AoE damage. That's really what they're going for here. And Stitches coming out as that last pick. So only one frontliner, kind of a squishy backline. If 10 Armor can get to the backside of sOaK every lane with a nice Entomb set up for Jaina, they could be in a lot of trouble. Or a good stay a while and listen, or even a Lornado to isolate out the Stukov or the Gazlo or the Kael'thas. None of those three heroes really have any mobility to speak of. They could be in trouble. So positioning going to be a factor. Stitches also, while better than he used to be in this department, is not great at peeling. So all the more incentivization to position properly and not overexpose yourself if you're the backline of sOaK every lane. So this will be a best of 3 matchup. 3 points to be distributed in the standings between these two teams. If you pick up the 2-0 domination, you get all 3 points. And if the team goes, or if the matchup goes 2-1, one way or the other, you get 1 point per game that you win. So the blue team here, that is the wrong overlay. There we go. The blue team here, sOaK every lane. We have Philip K on Stitches, Key 1108 on Stukov, DMN 13 on Kael'thas, Strogus on Zeratul, and of course BMed on his patented Gazlo. The red team, 10 Armor, Dave on Johanna, Yummy Cupcake on Jaina, Midnight Haze on Raynor, Lompico on Deckard Kane, and Puffy, unfortunately not on Janitor Leoric, but he will be playing Leoric nonetheless. So Leoric and Gazlo go immediately down to the solo lane. No meeting in the mid lane for the traditional clashing of the 5-man. Kael'thas and Stukov waiting for the hook. He's moving in for it. Misses the hook on Lompico. It's going to be down for 18 seconds. There goes the Deckard Kane setup. Clear and rotate for the side of 10 Armor. sOaK every lane following suit. With the Johanna Jaina, sOaK every lane, 10 Armor is going to have fantastic clear and rotate, but with the Zeratul Kael'thas, actually both sides well. And this is kind of what I was talking about, that back line of sOaK every lane. If those guys get the damage put on them by the Raynor and the Jimmy, they're going to be in trouble. Zeratul has just taken a ton of free poke these last couple go-arounds. And early rotation advantage to 10 Armor, just a little amount. Zeratul getting revealed by Dave and had to blink away, so he took more damage. But these trades are going heavily in favor of 10 Armor. Stitches is in trouble. Lurking Arm to try to keep him up was just enough peels to get him out safely. But these trades in the early game are definitely going in favor of 10 Armor. After this wave, we're going to pop down to the bottom lane, check on that solo lane matchup. Want to give those solo laners some love. They never get any camera time. And it is BMed on Gazlo, really giving Leoric a hard time. Now this matchup will change a lot. Once level 4 comes around and Leoric gets Neil Peasants, it's going to significantly increase his wave clear and give him a better chance at competing with that Gazlo in the bottom lane. So far the Stitches hooks have not been on the money. They've all been just a little bit off, and that's really played to 10 Armor's advantage. It's given them the rotational advantage pretty heavily and allowed them to kind of sneak in gems here and there on the passes. A hook on a Johanna, that's not going to do anything. Stitches now in trouble. A great Blizzard placement by Yummy. Stitches had to walk through that, but Zeratul driving Jaina away. Raynor was actually in the bottom lane to reinforce a little bit and rotated back up with a Jaina and a Johanna. They really don't need Raynor here to clear these lanes. They just need his damage if they get into these skirmishes. Dave able to drop off another 7 gems. And now Leoric actually doing some work down here. The Jimmy reinforcement was good, but now Zeratul was here. Wraith walk away. Puffy able to escape and get a little healing with the Drain Hope, but almost lost those 15 gems. Leoric is going to have to probably hearth back, or maybe he's just waiting for his fountain to pop. That's going to be my guess. So 22 gems in for the side of 10 armor. They do have enough gems for their first turn in. Not quite the case for sOaK every lane. They are very, very close though. So Gazlo forced to go back for armor. Jimmy taking over the bottom lane for Leoric, who had to hearth back, very carefully soaking. And these teams are going to start posturing here for turn, and something is going to break out soon here. Unless somebody ninjas these turn in. Shotgun away. I saw on the mini-map, Zeratul actually ate the shotgun from Jimmy and was forced to withdraw from the attempt there. Yummy, though, in trouble, getting the slow onto Stitches. Dave hitting the condemn to pull those away. Now teams posturing for turn-in. There is a first big hook we've seen of the game, and they cash in on it big time. Jimmy gets hooked through the wall at very low health and becomes first blood of the game over to sOaK every lane. Johanna here on very little mana as well. That's becoming a factor. One of the other things that Johanna does so well on Tomb of the Spider Queen, in addition to the wave clear that she gives, is the flashlight is just so good at disrupting turn-ins. It's such an easy, safe interrupt for the turn-in. Try to rotate onto B-Med, however, Zeratul is there to help him out. Leoric coming up. Both sides go away, and this is about as close of a game as you can get. Level 7 to level 7. Only 1 kill thus far. Both teams have traded out, but only the hook onto the Jimmy allowed him to finish it off. However, that is huge. CC coming out from Lompico on Deckard Cain there, and another hook onto Raynor. Johanna possibly in trouble. I assume Ironskin is up, but maybe not, as he hasn't hit it yet. Johanna goes down. That's 2 kills here in the early going unanswered for the side of sOaK every lane. I really think the lack of mana that Johanna was playing with for so long was becoming a factor there at the end. Now the members of sOaK every lane going to start laying siege to this top lane. Johanna just spawning, making her way back onto the battlefield from the Hall of Storms. Just at the bottom of the camera, we see Philip here doing a nice job of anchoring any kind of flank on the backside here. Dave just marching straight in, no hesitation. Now the members of 10 Armor here to reinforce. Another hook, this time onto Deckard Cain, and the lurking arm is there waiting for Lompico, but that old man is so durable for a support character. Deckard Cain is so hard to bring down, and a late decisive rotation from 10 Armor manages to save their top fort, and they're really not that far down in the sOaK game either. It's virtually identical. It's functionally identical anyway. And you can see that extra armor from the ace in the hole on the Raynor is just chunking out. Absolutely chunking out Stitches. That was a mistake by Philip. He overstepped. He is almost certainly going to go down. But the Zeratul damage on the backside forced them to step away, and it had to be Jaina who ran down the Stitches. A big kill. The first one of the game for 10 Armor. Raynor going to town on Kael'thas. He missed the shotgun blast, which would have certainly finished the job, and that's unfortunate. It has allowed Zeratul to actually bring down Raynor. So a 1-for-1 with the late kill onto Jimmy. But with no tank, no option to force for the side of sOaK every lane, they are able to get the turn-in for the side of 10 Armor. Heroics are on board. Putrid Bile for Stitches. Phoenix for Kael'thas. Gravo Bomb, no surprise there for Gazlo. Massive Shove for Stukov. And of course, Void Prism for Zeratul. And the side of 10 Armor. Stay a while and listen. for Deckard Cain, Blessed Shield for Johanna, Ring of Frost for Jaina, Rainer's Raiders for Jimmy, and Entomb for Leoric. So the solo laners are off, continuing their one-on-one duel in the top lane. I'm going to try to pop down there and check in on them in a second. Both of the 4 men are up here in the top going at it. Johanna and Stitches keeping track of each other, the front lines wailing on each other while Zeratul tries to flank, Jaina holding the flank. There goes the Bile, stepping in. Everybody is slowed. There's the VP. The counter stay a while might prevent the Wombo combo, and it does. So Lompico's stay a while actually prevents the follow-up on the VP. A ring does hit too. Some very low members, including Kael'thas. He is going to go down. Leoric Ghost walks aggressively in, catches 2 with the big swing of his mace. 10 armor with low, sOaK every lane, low hit points, forced to back up, and now the siege on the top is going down. However, that was definitely a misstep there for Stitches. He stepped in with way too low of health, and Stitches and sOaK both get exploded. First big break of the game for 10 armor. Zeratul actually almost got caught too. He stepped into that mess trying to get the gems, was able to get some of them before blinking over the wall. But we are going to look at back-to-back turnings here for 10 armor, and there it is. They are looking to take control of this game. Those 2 big kills securing the fort in the top lane, and they are going to have level 13 advantage here in just a few short seconds.
Go, my web weavers. Slaughter the blue team.
So now with the top fort already down, it looks like the members of 10 armor are going to prioritize the mid lane. Blessed Shield goes down as Kael'thas has overstepped to stay a while, and Ring of Frost. This is going to be an absolute bloodbath, and Tomb comes in to hold their fantastic execution for Lampico and Yummy Cupcake. Stay a while and listen to set up the Ring of Frost was a thing of absolute beauty. Now they have their eyes set on mid-heat. So after a little bit of maybe nerves and a rough start for the side of 10 armor, they have really come online the last 4 to 5 minutes here and taking control of this game. However, all members of sOaK every lane are now here, and they're going to do everything they can to keep up, and they will succeed. 10 armor opting to withdraw, and that was probably a wise decision. They have over a full level lead here, talent tier advantage, and they have a 3rd turn in. They're trying to turn in. It's going to be close. Some of these are going to get in, some of them aren't. Not enough to finish it off, however. 2 men hit by the Deckard Cain CC, lurking arm kind of in the middle of it, but doesn't hold anybody. Stay a while and listen, catches 2. No Yummy Cupcake here to follow up on it this time. However, Stitches has to run because he's so low. Rainer is just plinking him and plinking him, and the Drain Life from Leoric, the Drain Hope, able to finish the job. Zeratul going in on him now, trying to finish off a low Leoric, unable to do so. 10 armor securing back to back to back. Oh, I am sorry. I lied. I assumed that that was actually 10 armor, but somewhere on this map where I did not see, sOaK every lane managed to steal a turn-in, and that is huge because now, instead of 10 armor following up on those kills with their own siege, they have to play some goaltending here while this Web Weavers will not... Oh! Here comes the lurking arm. Here comes the stuff from Jaina. Unfortunately, Gazlo wasn't here yet. There's the Gravel Bomb. Goodbye, Lompico. Gazlo pays for it as well, though. Now sOaK every lane. Very low in life. Rainer, the constant damage from Rainer is just getting so much work done. Jaina was out of mana, just opted to auto-attack her way into that. He might be in trouble. Drain life. Tanking the keep down, they do finish the Stukov, and now 10 armor in really complete control of this game. I assume they're going to rotate away for a turn-in play, maybe a boss turn-in play. Looks like they're going to be content for turn in only. I mean, this is the first time I've looked, but the damage from Raynor is just constant onto the Stitches, constantly harassing him and keeping him down. And anytime any one of those backliners steps in for the side of sOaK every lane, Midnight Haze on the Raynor is just absolutely getting work done. So a nice tactical decision there by sOaK every lane to pick up the bruisers and sort of stem the tide of this mid lane here. However, they are cleaned up very fast, and I don't see any scenario in which this mid keep does not fall for the side of sOaK every lane. The Web Weavers, the Mercenaries with the Spell Armor, and all 5 members of 10 Armor stepping in with the Spell Armor. The flank is here. They have sniffed it out, though. Johanna and Leoric are there waiting. There's the Zeratul looking for the VP, but he is revealed, eats the Blessed Shield, and the Blizzard right on top of him. Zeratul does go down. He hits the 2-man VP, however, with the Spell Armor right there. sOaK every lane is in trouble. Really, the tale of this game, I think, is going to be the vulnerability of a 3-man stay a while with the Entomb. There's the Ring of Frost, catches 2. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be game 1, almost assuredly going over to the side of 10 Armor. After a rocky start, they absolutely came online. Gazlowe trying to make a valiant last stand, unable to do so. Core finally falls. That will be game 1 to 10 Armor. I really think the solo front line, triple, quadruple back line for the side of sOaK every lane was a problem. They just didn't have the bulk to deal with all of the damage that was coming out from Raynor and Jaina. Anytime one of those guys tried to step up, Midnight Haze was really on the spot with putting his damage to anybody who tried to step up. It was constantly on Stitches until somebody else got in range, and then he swapped it over, peppering sOaK every lane with damage the entire time. Here's your talents for you if you're so inclined to check those out. Well, it looks like those guys are ready for game 2, so we're going to go over there right now. Get that lobby invite back here. So looks like game 2 will be Infernal Shrines, and that is the choice of sOaK every lane. So let's go ahead and show you how that looks. Oh, hold on. Looks like there was some confusion here. We may not be going to Infernal Shrines after all. So let's figure that out real quick. Okay, so retract everything I just said. This will be the choice of sOaK every lane, but we will actually be going through to Towers of Doom. So ignore the last 30 seconds of this cast, and this is what it should look like. Towers of Doom is probably not just my favorite map to cast on, but probably my favorite map to play too, which is funny. When this Battleground first came out, I just really did not like it at all. But now it's just so entertaining to play on, and the competitive side, the casting and playing competitively specifically, the games are just so fantastic. And the games are never over until they're over, which makes the games a lot of fun. We've all had those games where you're on Towers of Doom and you think you've lost, and you make that 27-1 comeback, and it feels completely epic. So sOaK every lane's choice of map, which means 10 armor gets first pick, or first ban. Once again, so Moro will not get through. Nubarak banned out here for the side of sOaK every lane. And when you have a kind of an off hero that teams kind of feel obligated to ban out like that, it definitely opens up some doors for a draft strategy. It's one less maybe meta ban or whatever. And in this case, not just one off meta ban you're forcing out, but two. Both of those are a 150% targeted at BMed. They're not going to let Samuro or Vikings through 10 armor having done their homework. And sOaK every lane banning out Imperius. So let's see who the first pick is here for 10 armor. It's going to be Diablo. If past games are any indicator, we're going to see Stukov and somebody else selected here for sOaK every lane. Garrosh and Raynor. So I think that Raynor pick, while he's always good, I think that was just as much of a denial pick as it was an actual pick, because the Raynor in Game 1, played by Midnight Haze, was an absolute monster, and I don't think they want him to get a hold of that again. They've selected it. Now Midnight Haze will be forced to show his prowess on somebody else. Jaina for Yummy Cupcake one more time, and Leoric for Puffy once again. So let's see who sOaK every lane is going to opt to take off the battlefield here for game number 2. Tyrande is still there, pairs very well with Diablo. Lampico does play a very good Tyrande. However, he also showed last game Yummy and Lampico pairing up for the Stay a While Ring of Frost combination a couple times. However, they decided Tyrande is a bigger problem, and they're going to let Deckard Cain through. Mid band coming out for 10 armor. Are they going to get rid of the Stukov? Going to get rid of Zeratul? Instead, they're going to get rid of the Abathur. So 2 picks coming out here for sOaK every lane. Let's see who they grab. Malthael and Lucio. Interesting. I really like the Lucio with the Garrosh. Garrosh sometimes has difficulty getting up on people for the toss, and the Lucio speed can really help him out with that. So sOaK every lane, they kind of stuck with their tried and true formula that they were victorious with earlier this week. Didn't work out as well in Game 1. So they're changing it up a bit, going with a Malthael and Lucio 10 armor rounding out their composition with Phoenix and Kerosene. Now the Phoenix, I could go one of two ways. It's either going to go Planet Cracker with the Entomb, or you could also go Lightning Breath Purification Salvo with all the Jaina slows. You're almost assuredly to get the bonus damage on the slowed targets for the Purification Salvo. And then there's the Li Ming. I really... Ooh. You got to get resets if you're a Li Ming player, and I don't know how much success she's going to have getting through that front line of Leoric and Diablo, especially if Diablo goes level 1 spell armor. And yeah, so we're going to see how this turns out. I like 10 armor's draft really a lot more. All right, so game 2, if 10 armor picks up the W here, they will have secured the 2-0 domination and picked up 3 points in the standings on their first matchup of Season 6. On the flip side, sOaK Every Lane, if they pick up this game 2 here, they will assure that they get at least 1 point from this matchup and force a game 3. In their matchup earlier this week, if my memory serves, they actually lost game 1 and then won game 2 and 3. So certainly not out of the realm of possibility for sOaK Every Lane to win back-to-back games here. So, the blue team, sOaK Every Lane. We have DMM13 on Raynor, Strogus on Li Ming, Key 1108 on Lucio, Philip K on Garrosh, and BMed on Malthael. The red team, 10 armor, Midnight Haze on Phoenix, Lompico on Kerosene, Dave on Diablo, Yummy Cupcake back on the Jaina, and Puffy42 back on Leoric. Teams feeling each other out. Garrosh trying to get something here. One of the problems also that sOaK Every Lane is going to have, it is so difficult to play Garrosh into Jaina. Once she gets that cooldown reduction on her Q at 7 in particular, you can just spam that thing on Garrosh and he is never going to get anything. You can see it right there, the slows. Garrosh just doesn't have the opportunity to get anything. Philip K is in trouble. Lompico running him down. The boop from Lucio, not enough, as Phoenix able to secure the kill. First blood going over to 10 armor. And it's largely in part because of the slows on Garrosh. He just has such a hard time dealing with the constant Jaina slows. I think this is a matchup that really Malthael should win, but so far Leoric really seems to be holding his own. At least here in the early going. Now the invade coming out. Garrosh is there waiting. Flip, taunt. Diablo is in a lot of trouble. That's face-checking a bush where Garrosh is likely to be, even if you're Diablo, is really a recipe for trouble. So you want to check that bush with something other than your face. Maybe a Flame Stomp or a Q there. Especially, Diablo had low health there. That was just basically a free kill. However, Lompico going in on Li Ming. Great play by Lompico. Coming in on the flank and using that mobility from the Monk to get a cheeky kill onto the Li Ming. Lompico getting, or Yummy getting really aggressive onto Garrosh there, really having faith in his slows and showing no fear whatsoever.
Hero slain.
Oh, in the top lane, Malthael is able to get the kill on Leoric, but he is eating minion shots, and as soon as these minions die, he's going to be eating tower shots. So that's a 1-4-1, and Garrosh is killed in the mid. I missed it. But it's Garrosh once again slain by Phoenix. Solo laners having some fun there in the top. And of course on Towers of Doom, the 1st and 5th altar spawns are triple altar spawns. Neither side has a global, so it's really all going to be about positioning. 10 armor has the neutral one almost assuredly taken care of. LeOric is on the top right. This looks like it's going to be a 2 uncontested for the side of 10 armor. 1 going over to sOaK every lane.
And it will not be stolen from me.
Nice aggressive pathing here by Garrosh. Jaina is in trouble. I don't care what kind of slow she gets out of. This tosses here, she is going to be toast. There's the toss, and there she is toast. Great aggressive rotation and positioning by Philip K on the Garrosh. So 3 kills to 4. Experience very, very even. Game very, very even once again. You know, last game, even though 10 armor kind of finished the game on a roll, levels 1 through 10, game 1 were very close. And this game here looks like that's going to be the case too. Diablo is tossed and stunned. Great play by Dave to actually use the blue minion to shadow charge his way to safety. Really heads up play there. Now here comes the invade. Great job by Yummy. He actually may have saved Lompico there. Dismounted the Garrosh, who was charging in hard on Lompico. But Yummy used the Ice Lance there to dismount him. There's the charge and the flip onto the Li Ming. There's the Jaina damage. The Blizzard's a little far behind, but the Cone of Cold and the Ice Lance able to finish him off. Garrosh getting the flip counter kill onto Phoenix. A 1-for-1 as double altar spawns in the top lanes here. Typically, when a game is this even, this close, with neither side having an advantage, usually you see the gentleman split here, each side taking 1, and the positioning on the map for both teams seems to suggest that they are indeed going to take the gentleman split. Each side taking 1 and then rotating back into lanes to continue the race to level 10.
Will not keep me from this realm.
Dave, really aggressive with his posturing here. Now they are moving in. Malthael is showing in the top lane. 10 armor knows they have the man advantage here. Lompico, always aggressive in his positioning, really hovering around on the side. Dives in on the Garrosh. The Blizzard gets Philip so low, but he's able to escape with less than 200 hit points. However, this Merc camp almost 100% going over to the side of 10 armor, and it does. I'm very curious to see if Lompico is going to go for 7-sided strike for the isolated blow-up on a Garrosh, or if he's going to go Divine Palm to save one of his teammates from an unfortunate toss into enemy territory. And Armor doing a nice job staying together, rotating way aggressive. Rotate by the Garrosh, but his team is not quite with him, and he decides better of that aggressive rotation as level 10s are online for 10 Armor. It will be Divine Palm for Kharazim, Entomb for LeOric, Apocalypse for Diablo, Ring of Frost for Jaina, and Purification Salvo, correct, for Phoenix. Level 10's also on board for sOaK every lane, but speaking of, there's the Entomb onto the Garrosh, the stun, the APOC, the Ring of Frost, but he self-cleansed himself, and Garrosh is still alive for now. Raynor, however, actually fell first. Key now in trouble. Lompico is absolutely flexing on this Kharazim, and Malthael getting poked and kited down by the Phoenix on the backside. That is a terrible matchup for Malthael with the Phoenix. He actually is able to get away both sides in Phoenix, and Malthael very low. But a big team fight win for 10 Armor, also securing a double altar spawn and now starting to work on the mercenaries one more time. So we started to go over the heroics here for sOaK every lane. It is Warlord's Challenge for Garrosh, Hyperion for Raynor, Last Rites, I believe, yes, for Malthael, Sound Barrier for Lucio and Disintegration for LaNe. There's the flip taunt. Karazim is absolutely gone. Absolute execution coming out by sOaK Every Lane. A great bush party there. Getting a little payback on Lompico for the bullying he's done. And there's the speed on the Garrosh. That's what I mentioned in the early going. Lucio with the speed on the Garrosh is so good because Garrosh has a hard time getting on people. But a raw 3-man Ring of Frost from Yummy. Unfortunately, he did not have any other cooldowns. Otherwise, that could have been an absolute triple kill. But Yummy Cupcake on the Jaina really making sOaK Every Lane think about what they were going to do there and step back. That was a naked, unassisted triple Ring of Frost laid out there by Yummy Cupcake. So this game is still very close. The only difference, really, thus far, is the double altar spawn that 10 Armor managed to win on the back of the triple kill team fight. Now, sOaK Every Lane is not here in their entirety, so they can't really do much. They need Lucio to be here. They need Malthael to be here. They are a little late on this rotation. 10 Armor will be here first in their entirety. Both teams on their way, and this will likely be the first true 5-on-5 Disintegration being used solely as an interrupt there to get 10 Armor off the point. Both teams here. Stepping in, there's Dave looking for something. There's the Entomb, self-heal. There's the APOC, Ring of Frost, Purification Salvo, 10 Armor. Everybody pressing. There are buttons. Divine Palm for himself. LaNe getting the resets. 4 kills for sOaK Every Lane, showing signs of life despite Garrosh getting entombed and absolutely exploded. BMed with the last rights to secure the first kill, get Li Ming her resets, and then Li Ming absolutely went off. Great moment there for sOaK Every Lane. So a really great engagement, and I think that might be the first time that this set that we've seen sOaK Every Lane decisively win a 5-on-5 versus 10 Armor, and I think they probably needed that for their psyche a little bit. That was such a huge moment for them. And 10 Armor, they are showing absolutely no compunction, no hesitation whatsoever to use their heroics to blow up their Garrosh. They've done it twice now. Philip in the bush, waiting for anybody, not letting himself be revealed. Great job playing with the vision there. No Li Ming here for the blow-up, though. See, great job by Dave there. He learned his lesson. He is not walking into bushes anymore. That's the second or third straight time we've seen him flame stomp into those bushes first. sOaK Every Lane, much closer to 16. You think they would want to get that first. 10 Armor trying to walk these mercs in. Li Ming blowing them up. They will get one of the Pumpkin Sappers in only. And now it looks like they're going to try to burn this fort. And they're almost certainly going to get it. They do. The trade-off for that is it leaves sOaK Every Lane in fantastic position to secure both of these altars. I don't think 10 Armor can get here in time. Leoric is trying to ghost here in time. Great play by Garrosh. Just simply hucking Leoric out of the way. So that will be 6 shots with the double altar spawn for sOaK Every Lane, 5 for 10 Armor, since they did secure the bottom bell tower, and now the Mercenary is going to try to walk them in. What a great game this has been. 16-16, 22-15 in core health, 10 kills to 9. Just an absolute fantastic game. So sOaK Every Lane, they do have numbers here. Leoric is showing in the top lane. I would really like to see them get a little more aggressive. Otherwise, Leoric is just going to get value in the top. And Garrosh, as we mentioned, is just having trouble with the Jaina slows. They cannot get in there for a throw. Yummy doing a fantastic job of just keeping that chill onto Garrosh. And it really makes it significantly harder for him to accomplish anything. Finally, the self-cleanse is procced, but he still gets nothing accomplished. And in the meantime, in the mid and top, leoric is double soaking and has earned him a half a level lead. Malthael finally breaks away to answer that off-lane soak from leoric, reducing this to a 4-on-4. Wow, that is a lot of damage going into 10 heavy armor. And there's the Purification Salvo to try to finish the kills. The Sound Barrier completely negates the Purification Salvo. Still, though, Garrosh is low. His teammates are low. The healing box will come out. A nice peel by Dave as they sense that Phoenix might be in trouble. The aggressive Ring of Frost catches 2. Make that 3. They thought they had Phoenix, but the Hunter became the hunted very quickly, and a 3-4-0 for 10 armor. After that hiccup there, they are taking control of this game one more time. This is going to be 5 shots secured by Lompico in the bottom lane. Phoenix will go ahead and grab these bruisers. leoric actually gets rotated on and picked off. Great job by sOaK Every Lane to get value when they were down 3 people. An aggressive rotation, able to kill leoric in the off lane. Since they couldn't contest in the bottom, they made an aggressive rotation and got some value. That's a really smart heads-up play by BMed and by Strogs on the lane main. Now they're going to do everything they can to take this fort back. However, here comes 10 armor, and there are no minions. They were actually tanking that fort when 10 armor arrived. Root goes on to Garrosh. He does walk away. Sound Barrier keeps him up. A toss into the demilitarized zones for Diablo. Diablo is going to die or not. A huge Divine Palm by Lompico. A Ring of Frost catches only 1 on the Rainer, but the Blizzard will not finish him off. DNM walks away with less than 100 health, and somehow nobody goes down. I do not know how that happened. A huge Divine Palm kept Diablo up despite getting anchored in the artillery fire of sOaK Every Lane's base there. But once again, we're back in this stalemate. sOaK Every Lane cannot take this fort back. They cannot force their way in. leoric is double soaking again, getting his team level 20. Garrosh 100% overstepped to take the fort, and that might be the beginning of the end for sOaK Every Lane. 1 or 2 of these pumpkin sappers will get in. Let's see. It's going to be one of the pumpkin sappers gets in. Are they going to hold bottom camp to try to get enough to clear it mid? I think that's what they're going to do. Yeah, Lompico, is he going to hold it? So that's 5 shots. Now 10 armor will rotate the boss, and unfortunately for sOaK Every Lane, they're going to have to fight this like 5v, well 2, because Rainer is gone. He's just dead. This is going to be game 2, going over to 10 armor and the domination, picking up the full 3 points on a fantastically entertaining game 2. 10 armor. Boy, they look so strong here this game versus a sOaK Every Lane team that picked up a win against a veteran NGS team in Arrogant Nephilim. So this is a really strong opening showing for the side of 10 armor, picking up the 2-0, getting the 3 points, and the new roster additions in Midnight Haze and Puffy looking real good that game. We'll see if we can get Lompico in here for a little congratulatory chat. Then we'll take a couple-minute break, and we'll be right back. I'm going to do 2 replay casts off the back of this. Make sure all of our NGS teams are getting as much casting as they possibly can in the opening week. Let's see if we can get Lompico in here. That was a really fantastic showing by 10 Armor. Other than that kind of hiccup in the middle of game 2, it was pretty flawless. The early games were close for both teams. 10 Armor showing a lot of patience until their level 10s came online, and then they absolutely just took over both of those games. Once level 10 hit in game 1 and game 2, the script completely flipped. And there he is. What's up, Lumpico?
Hello, Mongoose. How are you?
Good, brother. How you been?
Good.
Well, congratulations. That was a pretty fun showing. How's the new 5-man coming together? Looks good. I know you guys bodied us in scrims, and then you pick up the 3 points in your first set, so gotta be feeling good.
Yeah, I felt we had a little bit of an advantage because I have played with some of the players on the team that we played against, so I kind of knew what they were going for in their draft. So I felt like we had a little bit of an advantage there, and we just tried to keep it cool and stay calm and collected. And they had a couple, especially the second game, we were very afraid of bushes, and overall it was just a fun 2 games.
Yeah, that game too. I mentioned that Dave learned the hard way real early in that game. Don't check the bushes with your face when there's a Garrosh on the other side.
Not only Dave, I have to give props to them. Their wombo was amazing. I couldn't even queue out when they caught me, so they did great.
Oh yeah, they finally got payback on you in the bottom lane about mid-game on that too.
Yeah, I felt bad there.
So I want to go to the kind of highlight for sOaK Every Lane, that kind of game 2 mid-game fight where LaNe got the pop-off. What were the comms like after that to kind of steady the ship and finish strong?
We knew we lost there, and we saw that we were still ahead. So we didn't really spend time picking that loss apart. We just spent time trying to go forward and focus on what we could do to succeed. So honestly, we said, oh, they had a great fight there. I misclicked. I hit Leoric with my divine. I tried to hit Leoric with my divine palm. I ended up hitting myself, and they did a great job of not letting me proc it. And the Li Ming just wrecked us from there. So we just knew we had to be careful with our engages from there, and just tried to be more mindful of it.
Lastly, how much of Div B West did you guys get a chance to check out this week?
We've been checking the games as they've been coming up, but I gotta admit it, Apex Legends has been keeping a lot of our attention. So,
Traitors!
hey, we're still on Heroes though. It's still great.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this division. From all of the games that I've watched, I really don't see any of these teams running away with anyone else. I've watched probably 75% of the teams, I would say, this week, and I think any of them can take games off of anyone else. I really think it's going to be a fun season for us in B West. But I'm going to let you go. I'm going to run back-to-back replay casts. Any shout-outs on your way out the door, bud?
I wanted to give shout outs to my team. I wanted to give shout outs to Jason and you and all the wonderful folks that are keeping this going. And we hope to keep participating and having fun in Online Adult Bowling League. That is NGS.
We have to change the acronym now.
Totally.
All right, man. We'll catch you later. And that's Lumpico from 10 Armor, fresh off their 2-0 domination of sOaK Every Lane. Hang out. We're going to take about a 2 to 5 minute break, and then we're going to be doing a replay cast of, who are we going to do first? Division C East, I'm 99% positive, Almost Legends versus House of Ches from earlier this week, so hang tight. We have plenty more Heroes of the Storm.